everybody. I'm getting better about jumping behind my desk to start the video. This is lesson number 21. It's called Begin with the End in Mind. And this simply means whenever you start a project, know where it's going to go. Understand and think about you accomplishing it. I'm so stunned. I had a friend who made this big lanai in their backyard, took out a lot of the yard, put a big, and their kids, his kids and his wife are mad because they lost so much of the yard, and they don't have a place for their trampoline because they don't want the kid bouncing on the trampoline, hitting their head on the concrete, and all this stuff. And I said to him, I said, didn't you think about that when you were building it? And he said, oh, no, not really. I guess I should have. And I was just floored. I just went, and this is an intelligent, successful, we're a guy worth millions of dollars and low millions, but this is unbelievable. I just went, really? You didn't think about that? He said, no, I guess I didn't think about when it got finished. When you start something, begin with the end in mind. Think about where it's going and what's going to happen when you accomplish your goal. What happens once you're done? Another example of this is a day after Pearl Harbor Day. This is December 8th. And we had all these, I live in Hawaii, and we have all these big ceremonies and things like that. And I have to wonder, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, I think, well, didn't they think about what would happen after this happened? I mean, you had a giant landmass that was totally unmobilized for war that you now are provoking. Where did you think this was going to end? You have to think with the end in mind. There was not much, where is this going to happen? When you begin something, begin with the end in mind. Where you're going to end up at. If I take a trip and I want to fly to Chicago, I know where I'm going to go. The end trip is going to go to Chicago, and then I can fill in how I'm going to get there. A lot of people, they don't think of the next step. Okay, once I get to Chicago, will I need to rent a car? Will I, the steps, that's almost like a halfway destination. So begin with the end in mind, and then once you have that end, then extrapolate what's going to happen there. And this can happen in all kinds of cases. It can be a bodybuilder that wants to get big, and he takes lots of steroids. Well, where does that lead to? What's the end of that? Is it liver damage? Is it kidney failure? People don't think about that. A student who drops out of school. Okay, you want that today, but what's going to happen later on? A person that's eating Big Macs all the time, or some other food. Is it going to be, hey, you're at the end of that's going to be you're fat and have a heart attack? There's a lot of people that don't think about. It's not so much. And I said I could have called this, look at the results of where you're doing. Look what kind of crops you're planting and when they when they bear fruit. But I titled it "Begin with the End in Mind," and I want you to think about that. Begin your project with the end in mind. I had a friend who's a wrestling coach, and he's devoted his life to wrestling, and he's been doing it for a lot of years. And he wanted to have a state champ. Well, is that really that valuable? There's been a lot of nights when he's been away from his family and away from his kids, and he's not done other things. A football coach friend of mine, same thing, only probably more so. He spent his life coaching high school football, and he's done that forever. And he gave up a big chunk of his life. And the end of that is you're an old coach that's retired. But is that really? While you're doing it, it might be fun, and when you're doing it, you have a great sense of accomplishment. But think about that. There are people that don't think, some guy that has an affair with some 2-bit stripper. Okay, where's that going to lead you? What's the end of that? A guy that's guzzling a bunch of booze, spends the rent money on booze and at the bar and buys drinks for him. Well, what's the end result of that? I have a friend, and he's got a girlfriend that's of dubious character. He said, she is so dumb. She doesn't realize if she runs the air conditioner in the beginning of the month that there's a bill that comes at the end of the month. She's not thinking, doing actions with the end in mind of what's the end result of this behavior. I said it could be a kid that drops out of school. Well, what's the end of that? A lot of people paint themselves in a corner because they don't know where their actions are leading. And so if you can sort of think of that and begin a project, and it can be any project. It can be reading a book. It can be buying a new car. Well, if I get a new car, I have new insurance. I have this, that. I won't have money for something else. It can be buying a house. It could be getting engaged. It could be starting a job. It could be anything. And you should look at it in the lens of everything. Everything you do, everything you purchase, every action you take, begin it with the end in mind. Once it's accomplished, then what? Not brushing your teeth. Well, that has an end result. Not taking your vitamins has an end result. Not exercising. What's the end result of that? So begin a project with the end in mind. Whether it's building a patio that you didn't realize you didn't need, or buying a car that you didn't think you needed, or having an affair that you didn't think you thought you needed, or starting a job or changing a job. I'm going to do this job that pays more and it requires lots more hours. Well, think of, okay, what's the end result of that? Begin that with the end in mind. Or I'm going to, there's an old saying, when the gods want to punish you, they answer your prayers. Or another country song, thank God for unanswered prayers. A lot of people don't know what's good for them. They don't know what they should have, and because they haven't thought through the whole end of everything they attempt. So when you look at something, begin it. Where's this leading, and what's going to be the result of it, and do I want that? So begin a project with the end in mind. Hope this helps somebody. Thanks a lot. Bye.